Hi guys, I'm back again today with another video, and today we're checking out 10 unexpected culture shock moving to Scotland part 1. So if you guys like it, we can do part 2. If not, then maybe we'll just see this part. But anyways, beautiful peeps, I'm interested to know what kind of culture shock some people might encounter, or some people might encounter in Scotland, because I feel like Scotland, what culture shock? Maybe I don't know, to be honest, but let's find out.
Today, I'm going to talk about 10 unexpected culture shocks that I experienced when moving from the United States to Scotland. Even though they kind of speak English here, it is a completely different world,
I understand
and it's
though.
impossible to go into every
I understand though, because for some reason my ears are blessed with Scotland fairies. Because we watched, yes, I'm gonna brag about this for the rest of my life. But we watched the video, and they were like, try to guess what he's saying, and I got it because I'm cool like that, right? So I think we're good. But that was just like one human being and one sentence, and I don't know if I will understand everyone else.
single difference in one video. So let's just call this part 1 because I'm sure I will make more videos in the future about things that you might find shocking if you're moving from the United States to Scotland or elsewhere in the UK. Let's start by saying hello. In the
Hello.
United States, whenever I was greeting someone, I would usually just say what's up or hi or hello. Here in the UK, the standard greeting and pronunciation will vary a lot based on where it is you live. Where I live, I would say the most common one is either hiya or all right. I've been
Hiya.
here almost 4 years now, and all right still kind of trips me up sometimes because
Why?
in the States, if you ask if someone's all right, it's usually because they look like they're hurt or something like that. Whereas here, it's just a standard greeting, and they're not particularly
In the Philippines, you just do this, and then everybody, yeah, just we're good.
asking you if you're
Sure, we have to
actually all
talk.
right. The typical response would be, all right, ta. Or if you're having a particularly bad day, you might just say, living the dream. Number 2 is
I
that
like it.
trash is everywhere, or as you'd call it here, rubbish. Now, I'm not sure
Culture
if
shock
it's
indeed.
actually more here or if it's just more visible because everything here is smaller and you're not kind of just trapped in your car the whole time driving everywhere like you would be in the States. But I at least feel like I see a lot more rubbish here, and I think there are, well, the two main reasons for it. I live on the west coast of Scotland and we get a ton of wind. I would say that overall the worst part about our weather is the wind. And when it comes to rubbish, in the United States, your rubbish, everywhere I've ever lived or ever heard of, rubbish is collected once a week. Whereas here where I live, your rubbish bin is only collected once every 3 weeks. Same goes for your multiple recycling bins like your paper and cardboard bin, your plastic bin. All of them are basically alternating, and every 3 weeks you would have your bin collected. I constantly have
That's
rubbish
crazy.
in my garden that is not mine. And even though there are rubbish bins at, I would say, almost every bus stop and very regularly in town, they're almost always full when I see them. So they're not collected often enough. And then you
Mm,
add in the wind with those rubbish bins that are overflowing. Well, you get the idea.
I
If you're
do.
coming to the UK, especially if you have small children, just be aware. The rubbish is only collected every 3 weeks, at least in my council. And I'm sure you can imagine how bad it is when you have an entire bin completely full of dirty diapers or nappies, as they call them here, sitting outside in the summer heat for 3 weeks before being collected. It's not
Why do they do that? Because for us, I already think like it's crazy that they collect it only once a week. And I didn't even know there was a worse place, actually. I thought this was worse already.
the most pleasant smell in the whole world. And number 3, tap water is amazing. In the
Ooh.
United States, the tap water is for the most part disgusting and unsafe to drink. I'm sure most of you have probably heard about what's happening with the water in Flint, Michigan, and what's been happening for at least a decade now. And while that might be an extreme scenario, I would say the vast majority of the US does not have safe drinkable tap water. Most Americans will just buy a whole bunch of plastic water bottles, or they'll use one of those like Brita filters for filtering all of their drinking water. When I first moved here, I bought a water filter because that's what I always had to use in the States. And I probably should be embarrassed by this, but it took me probably about almost 6 months before I really tried the tap water. And I wish I would have sooner because it is amazing. In the Glasgow area, the
Interesting.
water is fairly soft because of the low mineral content in the area. And I know Glaswegians would say it's the best tap water in the whole world. I couldn't really say if it's the best in the world, but it's definitely fantastic and the best that I've ever had. If you're moving somewhere like London, I've heard their water isn't as good, but it should at the very least be safe to drink, unlike in the
Oh.
United States, where the tap water frequently is dark and literally smells like mold. Number four
Can you
is that
wash
you
your
have to pay for
stuff
bags
with
at
that?
shops. You know how in Aldi you have to bring your own bags or pay for bags? Well, it's like that here in every single shop. If you forget to bring your own bag, that's fine,
You can buy.
but they, by law, have to charge you a minimum of 10 pence per bag. I would say for the most part, you're looking at about 20 to
I
40
think
or 50 pence.
everywhere. So far, everywhere I've been to, you have to have your own bag. Philippines, Korea, Japan. I think except I think Taiwan is still like they give you bags. I think Taiwan they give you. Where else? Indonesia. Yeah, Indonesia you have to buy your own bag if I'm not mistaken. I could be forgetting, or maybe they give you your own. I don't know, but most of the places I've been to, they you have to buy your own bag or bring your own.
Per bag, maybe a pound if you're getting one of those really fancy reusable ones, but it is something to look out for when you move here. Also, I've seen some Americans talk in these Facebook groups about bringing over your own bags when you move.
Mm.
Don't save the space because they are incredibly cheap to buy your own,
Mm.
and you will ultimately end up like
Because
in
I
the
have a
States where you
lot.
have a drawer full of a whole bunch of old plastic bags. It'll be the same way here. You'll have a whole bunch of reusable bags from all the times that you went to the shop and forgot
Yeah,
to bring it
I
with.
have a lot
Number
too.
five is that sales tax is included, but not always. One of the most infuriating things about shopping in the United States is that you never know exactly how much you're going to have to pay for your items until you go check out. In the US, none of the prices include sales tax, and the sales tax amount can vary not just from state to state, but also from city to city. There are times where you could buy the exact same item that's the exact same price from two different stores that are literally across the street from each other and pay a different amount in each store because that street is the county line where it changes to a new city or something like that. It's insane. Even
That's
essential
crazy.
items like food, baby products, hygiene products, in a lot of places in the States, they will still have the full amount of sales tax on them, whereas here they don't have any sales tax or VAT, value added tax.
But
It's not
yeah.
really a huge issue anyways. You don't really notice it because here the price includes the sales tax, except
Mm-hmm.
when it doesn't. There are places here where the price does not include sales tax, but it is primarily places that are geared towards businesses. So things like online wholesalers for businesses or
Mm.
Costco don't include sales tax in their prices. Also, your car mechanic might not include tax in his rates. My local mechanic charges £50 an hour for his labor, but that's before tax, before VAT. So in reality, it's closer to £60 an hour for his labor, which is fine, just something you have to be aware about.
Mm.
Number six, the green pump is petrol and the black pump is diesel. Now, Americans spend way more time at the pump than people here, and that's primarily for two reasons. American vehicles get significantly worse fuel economy, even if you account for the difference in the size of a gallon here compared to the States. And also, Americans spend way more time in their vehicles because they have to drive everywhere, so they go a lot more
Mm.
miles
See.
in their cars than people would here. In the United States, diesel powered cars are almost non existent. The only
Oh,
diesel
really?
powered cars that I've ever heard of in the US would be like the Volkswagen TDI vehicles. And I think they stopped.
Here in the Philippines, we have a lot of diesel cars. We have also petrol, yeah, but it's very rare. American brands, obviously, though. Should have known that. American brands usually, but Asian brands we use diesel a lot. So
Selling those a couple years ago because of the whole diesel emissions issue that probably everyone knows about now. Other than that, pretty much the only vehicles that would be diesel powered would be your big 18 wheelers or lorries, and then some pickup trucks would use
interesting.
diesel. Regardless of how many people use diesel, though, I would say everyone should know that in the States, the green pump is for diesel and the black pump is for gasoline or petrol. Here, it's the exact opposite. I haven't made this mistake, but I'm sure it's possible.
Yeah.
When you come here, make sure that you double check
Oh
the
my.
labeling for the pump because you don't want to grab
That
diesel
is so
instead of
me though.
petrol.
That is something that I would easily like that is a mistake I would easily do. That is something I will easily do because I'm more of like, okay, I just function robotically and then my mind doesn't realize until my mind realizes. So I could be burning and that's when I'm like, oh shoot. Mm, yeah.
Accidentally when you're going to fill up at the pump. Number 7 is the lack of sunlight. Now, Scotland is quite a bit further north than the continental United States, and growing up in Oklahoma, of course, days were longer in the summer and shorter in the winter, just like pretty much everywhere else. But when I moved here, I didn't quite realize just how much of a difference it would be and how extreme the differences would be. And that's one thing I'm not sure if I'll ever quite get used to. Winter in
Mm.
Scotland can be incredibly hard, especially depending on what type of work you do, because you can feel like it is constantly dark outside the entire time. In the dead of winter, the sun doesn't come up until like 9 a.m. and it starts getting dark at around 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon. So for a lot of people, it will be dark when you're going to work and it will be dark when you're coming
You
home
come
from work. But
oh.
on the flip side, summers are fantastic. Where I live in the dead of summer, even after midnight, you can still see a tiny little bit of light on the horizon. Number 8, daylight savings time is on a different day. A big adjustment when moving abroad is the time difference.
I think the
Depending on where your
winter,
family and friends are,
summer.
even if they're on the East Coast, it's still going to be a 5-hour difference when you want to talk to them. One silver lining with this is that daylight savings time is actually on a different day here than it is in the United States. Our time just switched over last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago. Time kind of blends together for me. But there was a period of about 2 weeks where the time difference was 1 hour less. So people on the East Coast would have only been 4 hours behind instead of 5. So that's kind of nice. Number 9, they have milkmen. If you're in a major city
Oh,
like New York City, I wouldn't be surprised if they exist, but at least the part of the country that I lived in,
I want
milkmen
to
were
milk her.
something from the movies from the
Sounds crazy.
1950s or something like that. You didn't actually get your milk delivered. Judging by the way things are
Maybe that's a business I should start in the Philippines. I'll start a milk woman business. Okay, that sounds crazy. But yeah, it has never been a thing over here. I know in Ghana we did, I don't know if they still do, but we do have that. Um, but we don't have it here. So maybe I should start, you know? But our cuisine, we don't necessarily have a lot of milk. Like we don't drink, especially like the old school people, they don't drink milk for breakfast or whatever. We eat rice and freaking like chicken in the morning. So it's not necessarily a part of our breakfast. But young kids, like when we were younger, our parents will always give us milk to drink because they say we will grow taller and all that. So probably we still follow that culture and maybe young people will still have to drink milk. So it will be a good business to just knock on people's door, be like, "You want milk? Fresh." I just like, I don't know
are
if it
in the
will
United
work.
States, even if it did exist, it would be incredibly expensive. A couple weeks after I moved here, I got a knock on my door from a salesman from the local farm just down the street, a couple miles. And ever since then, I have had a milkman. Well, I say milkman. because that's what the term would be in the States. I'm not sure if it's actually a man that delivers it. All I know is that every Monday and Thursday morning when I wake up,
Why am
there
I
is milk
imagining like a
sitting
guy
on
in
my doorstep.
blue
And the best part
with a
about it
hat
is,
on
not
his
only is it convenient and easy,
back?
it's not expensive. The amount that I pay for
Mm.
to have my milk delivered only works out to be like 30 or 40 pence more expensive per container than if I were to make the 30-minute round trip drive to Aldi and get the exact same thing. And the
Oh.
last unexpected culture shock that I'll talk about today is realizing just how stressed I was unknowingly from the threat of violence in the United States. Before I left the United States, I thought that I was fully aware of just how dangerous it was, but I don't think I truly realized it until after I left. There might be a better analogy to use, but you know that analogy where if you put a frog into a pan of room temperature water and then slowly bring it to a boil, it won't realize the danger that it's in until it's too late? I think that you can only truly
Mm.
realize the danger in the United States until that threat of danger is removed. Here in Scotland, I never have to worry about my kids getting shot when they go to school. I'm not going to have to grab my kids and run out of the grocery store because someone walked in with a gun, or cut a coffee shop date short because someone came in and was sitting across the room with a gun strapped to their hip. Here in Scotland, security guards can't have guns, and even the police don't carry guns unless they're part of the armed response unit, which is basically our version of SWAT. Nowhere is perfect, but life here in Scotland is infinitely safer than in the United States. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're an American who moved to the UK, let me know in the comments what your biggest culture shock was when you first moved here. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to stay up to date. And if you like this video, you might enjoy this one where I talk about 8 things that you might not have realized were invented in or by Scottish people. That's it for now. I will see you
Okay,
next
that would
time.
be interesting too. Wow. One thing that popped into my mind whilst he was ending his video, which I'm gonna write because I'm interested, because I'm weird. I like watching crime investigation, so I want to watch like when was the last time like a huge crazy crime happened and what was it about? And maybe the countries that we normally react to, we will do the same, right? Or the infamous or the biggest crime or criminal or unaliver was in Scotland, Netherlands, and all that place, right? Because I mean, in my spare time, I do that. I don't. Maybe that's why I have trust issues. That's why when somebody talks to me and I don't know them, I'm like, me no English, me no English. Like, yeah, I don't speak English. So if you like, I always say this: if you see me in real life and I ignore you, it's not you, it's me. Okay, it's not you, it's me. I just avoid people I don't know because I feel like everybody's gonna like it's creepy. So, anyways, beautiful peeps, thank you for joining, and that was interesting. Yes, especially the weather. The weather one, it was culture shock. Should I have gotten culture shock by that though? The milkman, interesting. I like that. Yeah, I like the milkman. Trash everywhere. I think the trash everywhere was the most shocking one for me, I think. Let me know what was shocking for you. And thank you. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.